So what kind of lender should you go with? I know it's a big debate and everybody out there is like, brokers are better. That's a hashtag you'll see. And they've done a great job of marketing themselves with this campaign, hashtag brokers are better, or I want to go to my bank. All my things are there, all my accounts are there. It's going to be much easier. Again, misnomer, but we're going to talk about that myth. And then there's correspondent lenders. So again, full disclosure, I am a correspondent lender. I am what's called a mortgage lender. We lend our own money, we underwrite our loans in-house, and we fund our own loans. They do eventually get sold, but that is what I am as a mortgage lender. So we've got the broker, the bank, and the mortgage lender. What should you do? So here's the deal with brokers. They have done such a great job, again, of this marketing campaign over the last several years, maybe even 5 years, I think it's been going on. And basically, brokers want you to believe that what's better about them is that they're going to shop your loan to all these investors and get you the best rate out there that's possible. And there's some truth to that. They definitely are able to shop around with lenders. However, what's changed is that over the years, and especially the last couple of years, with all of the mergers and acquisitions, all of the loss in the mortgage industry, because with rates going up so high, a lot of mortgage companies have had to exit that wholesale market, and just so many things that have changed in our landscape. Their pool of investors have really shrunk. Most of them are using a handful of lenders, maybe even 3. And it's typically UWM, which is United Wholesale Mortgage, Rocket Mortgage, and then there's a few others in there. But the big boys that they used to be able to go to are gone. Those are not even options anymore. They've either closed or exited the wholesale market. And what that means is that their rates are really in line with pretty much everybody else's. They're going to stay competitive within that small pool. They're not having a bunch of competition that they have to, kind of really cut their rates to be, base bottom barrel rate here. So that's the thing with the brokers. With a correspondent lender, a lender like us, we also shop the rates because those loans get sold eventually. And so we have lots of investors that we're selling to. And on the correspondent side, typically we have more options on that back side because more of those big boys are open to buying correspondent loans versus buying wholesale from brokers. We also can securitize directly with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which we do. And we also have some fantastic jumbo options that are not necessarily open to the broker world. They just don't have the funding and the reps and warrants to back up their loans if something were to happen. We're a big correspondent lender like us, we can do that. And then some might say, well, you're going to pay more when you go to a correspondent lender. That is not accurate because we are getting wholesale pricing just like a broker. It's just that our stuff happens behind the scenes and we're doing huge bulks of loans. So multi-million dollars of loans being sold to Fannie Mae, to Freddie Mac, to Penny Mac, to Chase, to tons of investors out there. We just have a huge pool of investors we can go to. And then the other option, which is a bank, again, the argument is, oh, well, it's going to be easier. They have my bank accounts. They know me, things like that. Here's the downside to working with your bank. Number one, the loan officer at the desk is not the person that makes the decision, and they're also not really equipped to be that person that can even kind of front load that loan. Like with a correspondent lender like us, we are underwriting that loan up front. We're making sure that it gets through underwriting. We're doing all of those things so you have a smooth experience. And again, most correspondent lenders, if they've been around a long time, they just have so much more experience. When you're in the bank and you're dealing with that banker at the desk, they are kind of like an order taker in a way. I mean, some have more experience than others, so, not to overgeneralize, but most of the time, that banker is newer in that field. They're going to take that information, they're going to take your application on a piece of paper, and they're going to send it up to a different department in another state that's a centralized underwriting department. And then the communication back and forth is a little herky-jerky. It's not smooth the way you would probably think it should be. Although your bank accounts are there, they still have to get so many other things from you. And many times they're trying to work between that loan officer, the centralized department, and you're just kind of a number. Many times I've seen where people have an account at a big bank, and yet they couldn't get the loan done, and they come to us and we're able to really slice and dice that income on the tax returns and figure out better ways to get the deal done. The other issue with going to a bank, think of it like a restaurant. You can only get what's on their menu, right? They're the bank, they have one product, they have one, group of offerings, and that's all you're really able to get. Unlike a broker or a correspondent lender like us, where we have lots of investors that we're going to, or the broker who has a handful of options they're going to, they may be able to get different guidelines. And even though your loan may not fit in this particular guideline, there's other investors that would have an appetite for your loan. So the problem with a bank is centralized underwriting in another state typically. They only have one group of offering, and many times we find you get someone with a little bit less experience in the industry, because once they're fairly experienced, they typically leave that bank environment and go to a correspondent or broker alternative so that they can better help that client with more product, more options, better pricing, etc. So you be the judge. None of them are bad. They're all different, and you may have had great experiences with all three of them. But again, full disclosure, I'm a correspondent lender. I was a broker for many years, so I do understand the differences. And I feel like I really love what we have in that we underwrite our loans in-house, we make the decisions, we lend our own money, and we can be quick and nimble, and we know our guidelines inside out. We can talk to the underwriter in a minute, but we also have the best of both worlds because we have all of these investors that we can sell to, as well as going directly to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on Wall Street. So you see, we are able to get you the best deal with the best rate, with the best service. I feel it's the best of all the worlds. But again, you be the judge. We'd love to work with you. Give us a call if you would like to explore this more. And if you have comments, feel free to comment below. If you'd like more great mortgage advice, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get that little ding every time we put a new video on.